Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving right into the story of the most infamous diamond in human history, the Koh-i-Noor. But we're not just treating it as a precious gem today. We're looking at it as a catalyst for we're exploring some of the most singular of this breathtaking story, ultimately explaining the tragedy of this woman. Who is this genius superstition? What is this diamond? They paid the exiled child an annual stipend of £50,000. If you adjust that for inflation today, that is roughly 650 million Indian rupees every single year. But exactly as the curse dictates, no amount of money could save him from a miserable, destitute end. Section 4. A royal loophole. Having seen the absolute devastation this diamond caused across Asia, the new British owners were actually pretty terrified of that very same 1306 prophecy. But first, the British public was kind of underwhelmed. At the 1851 Hyde Park exhibition in London, people were surprisingly disappointed. They thought this legendary, blood-soaked jewel just looked like a dull piece of glass. So Prince Albert decided to drastically alter the artifact.
In 1852, he commissioned a recutting and polishing to make it shine brighter. It dropped from 186 carats way down to 105.6 carats. That means it lost 40% of its weight, leaving it about the size of a chicken's egg.
Okay, so how exactly do you dodge a centuries-old curse? You find a literal loophole. The rest of that ancient Hindu warning states only a god or a woman can wear it with impunity. Taking this entirely literally, the British instituted a strict protocol. They outright banned male monarchs from wearing the stone, ensuring it was passed instead to the queen consorts. It went from Queen Alexandra to Queen Mary and finally to the Queen Mother in 1937. They were desperately hoping to avoid the madness and ruin that completely destroyed the men before them.
Finally, Section 5. Who owns the misery now?
Today, the diamond is securely locked away in the Jewel House at the Tower of London, but the geopolitical fight to reclaim this cursed object is fiercer than ever. For India, the diamond represents far more than just a glittering gem. As Shashi Tharoor powerfully argued in his famous 2015 Oxford Union speech, the economic impact of British colonialism was absolutely staggering. India's share of the global economy fell from 23% down to below 4%. So for many, the Koh-i-Noor is the ultimate tangible symbol of that vast economic prosperity that was stolen away.
And the fight to get it back is complicated because right now, 4 entirely separate nations have completely logical, historically rooted arguments for claiming the exact same stone. India points to its origins in Golconda. Pakistan argues it was taken from Lahore, which was the capital of the Sikh Empire. Afghanistan points to the long reign of the Durrani Empire, and Iran roots its claim in Nader Shah's conquest and naming of the jewel. They literally all have a piece of this bloody history.
But there are massive legal hurdles blocking any kind of return. The Indian government has noted they must use friendly, diplomatic ways to retrieve it, because legally speaking, treaties like the 1970 UNESCO Convention simply do not apply retrospectively. The diamond was taken from empires and kingdoms that existed centuries before modern borders were even drawn up, making a single modern recipient virtually impossible to determine in an international court of law. Perhaps the most objective solution comes from a more emotional standpoint. Anthropologist Richard Curran suggests we should just leave the diamond exactly where it is, lock it away in the Tower of London to ensure its incredibly dark, incredibly violent history is finally put to a halt. So I want to leave you with this to ponder. With centuries of molten lead, brutal betrayal, and absolute ruin proving the ancient prophecy true over and over again, is reclaiming the Koh-i-Noor truly a victory of justice? Or is it just an invitation to inherit its incredible misery and curse? Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the real history behind